Oh no! Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome to King Bespoke Creations. Merry Christmas to you in this seasonal season of seasons. Right, an Advent candle, not a calendar, candle. Advent candles get lit every Sunday leading up to Christmas. So we need something that has 4 candles in.
4 candles. 4 candles.
Really simple to build, looks beautiful. I think it's well worth a make. Let's have a look how we do it. So first things first, we just need a block of wood. You can see this is just made out of sections of 1 inch thick. So there's a 4x1 in the middle and then just some offcuts around the edges to give me whatever size that is. How big is that? Almost 10 inches we've got on there. And then it's just a matter of drawing a circle around it. And then we're going to draw one a little bit further in, kind of a couple of inches in, to cut out that centre section to leave us with the ring that we need in the middle. There we go. Right, so that's one. And then we'll do the same thing again, using that same centre point. Right then, so there's a number of different ways that we can cut this out. The outside edge is probably the easiest one, and I'm going to do that with hand tools, simple stuff you'll have in your shed. So a saw and a chisel mainly is what we're going to use. Maybe then a rasp or a file, something like that. I like using files in woodworking, it works really well. The inside circle could be a little bit trickier, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. So just using straight cuts, you can see I've marked off on this corner, just cutting off the big chunks off will get us a reasonable shape all the way around very, very simply. There we go. Right, so take your time to get that first established. Because it's on a slope, it could be trickier, but try and make sure you are running straight and 90 degrees to the wood at this point. Oh, it's always easier to cut in a straight line, straight down should I say. So let's try and move it again. If you find it on the steeper slopes, come into 90 degrees, get a bit of a cut started, and that should give you a ledge you can then push your finger onto, and that should get you going. So once we've lopped all the corners off, you see we're not far away already. Now it's just a case of I'm going to use a chisel now. I'm going to start at the top. I've got pretty much on my line there already. And then just tapping away. Just trying to follow that line. Little taps as you go. As you'll find as you go further round, because you're going further against the grain, the chisel will struggle a little bit. So what you can do is half the amount that you cut. So a chisel works well. You might have a rasp of some sort. So this is called the Shinto saw rasp. Very, very useful tool. And this will simply go around, take off fairly big chunks. It's a double-sided rasp, so we've got a thick side first. To almost the right level, flip it over to the thin side, finer cut. So that works quite well. And then we could finish that off, whether we've used the chisel or the rasp. Using a file is a wonderful thing with wood. You get such a beautiful shiny gloss finish using a file. A lot of people think that files are purely for metal work. Not true. Right, so then we've got to cut this centre section out, which is a little bit trickier than the outside edge because you can't use a whopping great saw like those. But what we can do is use one of these. Now this is a coping saw. I'm sure many of you have seen these before. Very old tool, purpose made for cutting round circles. I like to have my blade set at an angle, look. So that blade is running straight up and down, but the top section pulls off at an angle. I find that makes it easier to fit round things, to be able to get the curves in one direction or another. So we've got to undo the blade to go through here, which means we've got to drill a hole through this to begin with and then saw through. Now I also have my coping saw blades set to cut on the pull rather than the push. I find it's less likely that anything catches, gets stuck, and then the blade bows and wants to pop out. If you're pulling all the time, it keeps a lovely tension on the blade. Right, let's see if we can cut a circle out then. Well, that's not too bad, is it? There's a few areas like this where we had a little bit of a wobble. Just a warning whilst using this thing. When you're getting down to the bottom, stop before you get to there, because it really does get in the way. So, you know, get somewhere close and then move the thing again. Right, so just going into there. I'm just pushing, turning, all at the same time. Lovely. Oh, nice. Right, so now that we've cut the wreath, the ring out, we're going to make some 5-pointed stars. Now they're not always the easiest things to measure out. You could cheat and just print one off from your computer until you've printed them off the right size, or we can try and be clever and cut one out. So I'm going to use a compass. I'm just going to draw a circle. So using this scrap piece out the middle for one of them. Then we're going to cut that in half with the pencil, like that. And then we'll cut it in half again, 90 degrees to that. So this is where you will need a little protractor compass type thing. There we go. So we end up with that. Right, now what we need to do is measure off the distance here. Let's see if we can use millimetres because it might be easier maths. Ooh, bang on 3. Well, that's good. So bang on 3 centimetres I've got there. So halfway between the two, trying to be as accurate as you can. So there's my 15mm to that point. Now this is where it gets weird. Don't ask me why this works, but it does. I'm going to put my pin on there and go to that outside edge on that side. Okay, so that's where I'm going to set that distance. So once I've set that, then I can mark off there. Okay, so we've halved that. We've measured that distance from there to there and transferred it onto that line. And then we're going to go and reset the compass again from that mark to the top. It's a slight adjustment. It's not a lot, but it's a tiny little thing, and that will make a difference. So we're going to go from there now. So that's our top point. And I'm going to mark across there and across there, and then I can go from here across there, and then from this one over to there. Then all we need to do is connect all of those parts together. Now I realise to the camera that I've done this upside down for you. What a pretty star. Lovely. Right, once you've cut one of them out, you could go through and mark it all off again, but I'm not going to bother. I'll just draw round that 3 more times. There we go. Just pyroed peace, love, joy and hope onto those stars. I was going to use my nice pyrography set, but the plug snapped on it. So we had to resort to the trusty old soldering iron. Okay, if all else fails, a soldering iron will do the job. So here I've just super glued some of these offcuts from the stars onto a block so that it would hold the star nice and straight upside down, because I'm going to drill a hole through this bottom section to put some dowling in, so then they can stand on top of that ring on the dowling. So all we need to do now is connect these together. So I'm going to use, just got some hardwood dowling that I'm going to glue into the bottom of the star. So they're going to be glued into there. And then drill the corresponding holes, 4 of them equally spaced, on the ring. I'm not going to glue that into there because with decorations they need to go away again, don't they? So these are going to be able to pull out, pack away all together, and then go up in the loft until next year. Easiest way to cut a dowling is just roll it on a knife. So I want a 2-inch strip, so I'm going to have 2 there, and just roll it on your knife is the easiest way to do it. A couple of goes like that, hey presto, comes off perfectly. Trying to saw this stuff, it's too flexible, so just roll it on the knife, so much easier. Right, while we're waiting for the stain to dry in between coats, I bought some candle holders from Amazon. I'll put the link in the description because they're not the easiest things to find. I got some goldy coloured ones. You could get silver ones as well, but I thought the gold would be very Christmassy and lovely. So I bought these. For some reason they've got this huge great big spike on that end. So obviously they've got the little spike on the top to put the candle on top of, but that's a bit excessive on there. So we'll be snipping that through. I'll try and use some tin snips, see if that works. If not, we'll just have to get the hacksaw out to cut that down, and then pre-drill a little hole again, corresponding with those stars as we go through as well, to slot those in as a permanent fixture. Right, so now to put the candle holders on, I'm just going to put a tiny dab of super glue inside the hole. These are a tight fit anyway, but I don't want these coming out. There's no need for them. There we go. So that can stay there, and just work your way around. And then these guys slot in just lovely. Beautiful. Well, there you go. That was fun. Easy enough? Yeah, I think so. The most complicated bit for me was definitely trying to figure out how the heck to cut a 5-pointed star. But there we go. it worked in the end. Trial and error if need be. Join us for more. We might have some more Christmas stuff coming up. In the meantime, sharpen your tools and I'll see you soon. God bless.